Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Duncan Lewis, who owns and runs consultancy named Eaglei. Good morning, Duncan.
Yeah, good morning.
Duncan, can you please introduce yourself and tell us more about the book?
Well, my name is Duncan Lewis, and as you said in your introduction, I run a consultancy called Eaglei, and I work as a communications trainer. And I've been doing this for the last 7 years. And essentially what we do is we work with people to help them improve their communication skills and to really present the best version of themselves. And we work with a range of clients. We work from students in school and colleges and university through to senior management, senior leaders in business, and really anyone in between. And I decided really at the beginning of the pandemic last year that I wanted to commit my ideas to paper and decided to write a book. And all I knew was that I wanted to call it Speak Out, with a subtitle of How to Make an Emotional Connection in Communication, because the book really goes to my methodology, my approach to coaching and training people to help them communicate more effectively. And so the book is a pocket-sized book. It's small in length, it's only 100 pages long. But I really wanted to, as I say, express my thoughts on really supporting people on how to communicate more effectively.
Well, thank you. Now, you mentioned initially that Eaglei specializes in delivering development skills workshop. Well, can you please tell us more about the training courses that you provide?
Yeah, so the workshops we run tend to be, well, when they were face-to-face before the pandemic, we tended to deliver them in a day. Now, since the pandemic, of course, everything we deliver, we've adapted to deliver online. So we tend to deliver in sort of half-day or 3-hour duration, really. And we, even within the 3 hours, we take a break after an hour because of concentration span, and we need to get up and stretch our bodies a bit. But really, the workshops are developed to, again, help people to communicate more effectively. So I will run through my methodology and my approach. I will start the workshop with that, or the webinar with that, which is really what I express in my book. But then I work with another person that I involve, an associate of mine who is a professional actor, and she will work with the delegates on how to use their voice and body language to best effect, because obviously as a professional actor, the tools of their trade are the voice and the body. So we work with the delegates on how to use those skills more effectively. And then we get the delegates to ask the delegates to do 1 of 2 short talks. They're not really presentations. We get them to do one around their business, and then something related to their business, and then one on a passion, something that they are passionate about, not related to the work. But both of these talks are less than 5 minutes. They're about 2 to 3 minutes. So it's how they can share their story, how they can communicate their message with passion and energy and all the things that we pass on to them in a very short period of time. So the idea is to really give them the confidence to express themselves authentically in a very genuine way. And of course, depending on the person that we're working with, that takes skill and it takes confidence. So for example, when we work with the young people at the Prince's Trust, and by the way, I am donating £2 from every copy of the book to the charity, the Prince's Trust. I work with their young people to help them share their stories. And for a lot of those young people, it takes tremendous courage and confidence to share their story, often to a very large corporate audience, and to share their story succinctly takes, as I say, skill and great levels of confidence.
Well, going back to what you just been saying now, communication is paramount, and not only at professional but also personal level. Let's stick to communication. Well, how has communication within businesses changed in the recent years, especially with the pandemic and everything? How do you think it will further evolve?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's one that I think is evolving. So over the last, if I look at the last, let's say 18 months, since February, March of last year, getting on for 18 months, I think that the whole move towards working online as we are conversing now, yes, people used video platforms before, but they didn't use them as much as we're using them now. And certainly the clients that I work with now have needed to, in the last 18 months, up their game. They've needed to improve the way they communicate online to get their messages across. And obviously, I'm somebody who can help them do that. But if we look now moving forward, I think for me, and I've just actually written an article about this on LinkedIn, that I think for me moving forward, I'm looking forward to getting back to face-to-face. I've got my first group workshop booked in for September, and I'm looking forward to it. But for me moving forward, I think it's going to be blended or hybrid working. That's the term at the moment. I'm going to do a mixture of both, because for me, I've been running a workshop last week for people in London. For me to travel down to London, perhaps the night before, to run a workshop for a day and travel back up from London, it's a lot of effort, a lot of expense. It's not very good for the environment, but I was able to do it online. And it may have lacked some of the impact, but I still got my messages across and I could see the development in the people who attended. So I think moving forward for a lot of businesses, not for everyone, but for a lot of businesses, I think blended or hybrid working is the way forward.
I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm huge with face-to-face. I miss going to conferences. I miss face-to-face and shaking hands, and I miss that. But communication, like you said, has made the world smaller. You can reach Denver or Perth in Australia within just from the comfort of your seat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I miss a handshake. I miss a hug. I miss all of those things. And, you know, I think the world has changed, because certainly the corporate world has changed. You know, again, I wrote another article about this recently where I said, you know, is the handshake a thing of the past? You know, when we go to a business and we sign in at reception, will we be handed a face covering as well as a lanyard? I don't know. You know, is the corporate lunch a thing of the past? I just don't know. I think for a lot of people, it's down to the individual about how they feel about it. But I think working online is here to stay, and it's one that I am prepared to embrace.
Well, fantastic. Thank you very much, Duncan. And if you want to get in touch with Duncan, please follow his LinkedIn profile and website. Thank you very much.
And thank you for inviting me.